Welcome to Princeton Television. Welcome to Adam Bierman Show. Actually, Adam will not be here this week. He will return next month. But we got a great show here. We have got the ladies of the Trenton Animals Rock Foundation. I'm going to introduce these two ladies. Are going to introduce themselves, and I'm really excited for tonight's show because I'm really big about animals, animal rights, and these two are doing a great thing here. So, sitting with me is
Danielle Gletow,
Nadia Adam.
All right. So, tell our audience exactly how this started.
So, Trenton Animals Rock started about a year ago.
Okay.
We started because we noticed right away that there was a lack of resources at the Trenton Animal Shelter. They needed a lot more monetary support and resources to come in to help the dogs that were there, as well as ensure that the dogs that were coming in were getting medical treatment. And that's kind of how it started. It started with a post that Nadia had actually done on social media about an injured dog.
Busy story. That's one of the stories of the founding of Trenton Animals Rock. So.
Yeah, and actually busy stories on our website, so people can read it. But I saw it on Facebook that there was this injured dog sitting at the shelter, not getting medical care, and connected with Nadia through the Facebook page. And long story short, ended up figuring out a way to get the animal out of there and get treatment for him, and it was extremely expensive. And so I wanted to fundraise, but the shelter itself can't accept donations because they're not a 501c3. And being that I was already running a nonprofit for foster children, and I knew how to start one, I got together with Nadia and another volunteer named Judy, and we decided to form Trenton Animals Rock so that we could raise more money and support. And Nadia knows more of the history of the shelter because I've only been around for a year, so.
Awesome. And you actually brought one of the special featured guests here?
This is Ollie. He's one of my dogs. I have 5 dogs that I've adopted from the Trenton shelter. I've had him for 5 years, I think.
And what exactly would be this story of Ollie?
He was abandoned, I think, or a stray. It's the story of most of the dogs we get. We get probably 90-95% pit bulls in Trenton. It's an inner city shelter. So, this is what we get all the time, stray or abandoned pit bulls. They're usually really great dogs, very friendly. There are just tons and tons of them. So. And
I think a lot of the world has kind of caught up through social media and stuff in the last 10 years about
pit bulls?
Not so much, pit bulls too, but also just, adopt, don't shop and everything. But I think there's so many more people out there that don't.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to go get a dog, cat, whatever, how what's the process? What should they be doing?
So first, I would say if you want to get a pet, definitely adopt through a reputable rescue group. You have to be careful because there are some rescue groups that are kind of perpetuating the problem. Most of the time, I would say if you can, take an adult dog. Fuzzy little puppies are super cute. They're not hard to place. And we have a lot of adult dogs in the shelter that end up still waiting. So people, through the Trenton Animal Shelter, they can either adopt directly through the shelter by going to PetSmart. Every Sunday, Nadia, Judy, and a bunch of volunteers bring the adoptable dogs to PetSmart in Langhorne, and people can meet the dogs and adopt right through the shelter. The other way is that they can foster through Trenton Animals Rock or other rescue groups, and they would just go to our website. It's tarnj.org, tarnj.org. There's a link for fostering. You may put in an application. It's a short application. We come and do a home study. We talk to your current vet if you have one. Set up a meet and greet with your dogs, and then you can meet all the available dogs that we have. And then once you've fostered for 2 weeks, we allow the dogs to be adopted. We like to have kind of a chill period for the dogs because the shelter, as you can imagine, is really stressful.
Makes sense.
Especially for dogs that are owner releases. So dogs that were used to being in a home and now they're in a kennel and they're in there for 16 hours a day with no real human interaction, alone. And that can be really incredibly difficult for them to deal with. So we like to give them a decompression period. But I can't stress enough, please, if you're going to rescue a dog, rescue an adult dog.
Yeah. We always joke that all of our dogs are 2 years old.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common that like
Adopt a 2-year-old.
people get a puppy and there's a lot of backyard breeding in Trenton, and like there's a whole problem. So people get a puppy and they, it gets to like 6 months, a year, and it's like a problem, and like, yeah, so there are a lot of stray dogs between like 6 months and 2 years old.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot of work goes into this, and basically all of it's volunteer.
All volunteer.
All volunteer.
No one's paid.
Yeah.
I mean, we have other jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got jobs.
Uh-huh.
We have other jobs, but yeah, it's really amazing. When I first got involved with them a year ago, I couldn't believe how many dogs were being moved to the shelter, like into rescue groups and into adoption, with no formalized like entity. Like it was all being done by just like a group of really passionate, focused people, which is, I think, that the best way to get things done. So now that we formalized and we actually have, a method for people to donate, and we have a little bit more of like protocol and process, I think we've even sped that process up a little bit more. But it's still all volunteers. It's people who just love dogs and animals and want to give them the best possible chance, because a lot of them, we see terrible cases. I mean, things that like...
Yeah, just kind of ruins your whole day, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's horrifying. We find dogs with mange so severe that they're swollen and bleeding, and dogs that have like prolapse that's so bad that, and they're puppies. That actually, I think most of the puppies, for a while, we got like 4 puppies in a row, like severe prolapse, which is painful, and it's correctable, but it's expensive to fix, and so they get dumped. And you find these adorable animals, and they're so grateful. Like they're immediately love you, and
thanking you immediately. Almost. Yeah.
It's wonderful, but you just can't believe like that a human being would do this to a defenseless animal. Like
it's really sad, actually, because a lot of the dogs have been like abused or like lived out in a yard on a chain or something, and they still love people. They come in and they're still like, yes, give me affection and love, and so. Yeah, they're really incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's the heart spirit of the animal. It's great. And recently, you guys, this kind of a recent adventure in the news with Trenton. So you guys were hit up about
the hoarding case.
The hoarding case, yeah.
Which it's strangely, I feel like there's been a lot of hoarding cases in the news. I didn't think that we'd ever see something like this in Trenton, because the houses are so close together.
Mm-hmm. Like, how'd they get away with it for that long?
How did you have...
We had 2 houses connected, and yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
But they said when they got there, so when the animal control officers got there, they said when they walked to like the gate or the front like entry, you could smell...
Oh, yeah. Dog,
what it would be
else.
if you had dozens of dogs.
Yeah, because they'd just been... These dogs like were in the house like for their whole lives, like living in their own,
and chained together.
Yeah, so
with these like heavy chains that were locked, like all locked together, and then some of them were like in cages, packed in cages, and they were big dogs. So there were mastiffs, there were Neapolitan mastiffs, which are really expensive and big dogs. I mean, those are the ones with like the jowls that like hang down.
Yeah,
they're gorgeous. And tons of Rottweilers. So there was a lot of large breed dogs in there. So imagine they were all like crammed in there, and you could tell that it was probably like a free for all with food, because like
because some of them were starving and some were like not,
very well
like,
fed.
The boss dogs.
Yeah.
And this is this like. I think some of the audience realizes this and some don't. But I mean, there's just some terrible people out there that take that. Well,
I think it's also there's mental health issues too. I mean, I think that. Sometimes, and I don't know that this is the case in this case or in any of the other hoarding cases that have been in the news lately, but clearly there's some disconnect between reality and what you think you're doing. And so I think sometimes there is a case where people believe they're saving these animals and they can't get the breeding under control, or they don't want to give them up because they don't want them to be euthanized, which Trenton is a kill shelter. I mean, most I think municipal shelters are. There's only 20 large kennels in the Trenton Animal Shelter. That means that when any given week, I would say in the time I've been there, I have seen between like 6 and 15 dogs come in a week. So if there's 20 and they have to stay on hold for 7 days by state law, where are you putting all these dogs? So I think people know that, and so again, I don't know that was the case with this, but there are sometimes people who think they're doing the right thing by keeping their dogs out of a shelter. But if they were neutered and spayed,
Yeah.
People just don't realize, and cats too, like people just don't realize, like, please fix your animals.
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So what happened on the news, what we're talking about here, how many dogs
52 dogs.
52 dogs, and they call you.
Well, the ACO called me because the shelter manager was on vacation, and he was like, I don't know.
One of the ACOs is a torn ACL. By the way, so he's like on crutches.
He's on crutches. He's only
Gotcha.
got one other ACO with him who has only been on the job for like a couple of months, and he's like, Danielle, like, I don't know what to do with, like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're not at the shelter because they all had to go. Him and the other ACO and the guy who does maintenance there, who is like probably the most under-recognized person.
Yeah.
So shout out to James, because I don't know how this guy does this, but he solo cleans these cages every day of the week. So anyway, so all of them were out, and I think he was like, he knew he was going to have to move dogs quickly because they didn't have space for what he thought was going to be like 25 dogs. So he's like, can you go there and open the doors so when we come in, we can start moving the dogs that are there into different runs so we can get the new dogs in and like assess them. He also knew, and so like I don't think he was calling me because like I'm going to save the day, but he knew that we had funds for medical treatment, and he knew the dogs, a lot of them were in bad condition and would need to go to the emergency room. So as they were coming in, like we were assessing which ones we thought were critical, so that we could take them right away to our vet hospital partner, which is CARES in Langhorne. And so I got there, and shortly after I was there, a couple other volunteers from another rescue came, and then Nadia and Judy and some other volunteers came a few hours after that and just started moving dogs. Like,
it was crazy.
It was crazy.
And these dogs were like terrified. Like when I got there, Danielle's like, there's these 2 big female mastiffs and they're in a cage together down the back, and I think we need to get them out. And like these dogs had probably never been like touched by a person. What are you doing?
Look at me.
Enough about them. Me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went down there and I'm like, these girls are just terrified. And one of them's blind. She couldn't see at all because she's like such bad like cherry eye. And but they smelled, like I had chicken with me, and they smelled it, and they like came in and they got it. So we got them out and we cut the chains off them, and like they were the friendliest dogs. Like after 2 minutes, it was like, yeah, it was really crazy.
Was that your biggest like rescue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even like
I hope we never.
I hope so for you too.
Again.
Yeah.
Even Joe, he just retired, but he was an ACO there forever. He said like they never had a hoarding case that big in all his time there. So.
That's so many dogs.
Yeah.
It's like they at one point were like lining, the hallway was lined with cages of the smaller dogs, and the little ones, like the puppies, the little Yorkie puppies, were like 5 in a cage because there was nowhere to put them. Thankfully, rescues are pretty easy to find for small dogs. So Judy got them out right away. She was like, oh, I got this. And they were gone that same day to rescue, which they needed because they could then get vetted properly. We couldn't, like, the ones that appeared to be healthy, we couldn't vet all of those dogs in that short period of time. We needed to focus on the ones that were clearly, like, there were some that were just not, like, really aware. They were, and then we had a couple that were, like, really, really growly puppies, and we knew, like, something had to be wrong with them because they didn't want to be touched because they were, and you could see their ribs.
Yeah.
And those mastiffs, the neo-mastiffs that Nadia got out, I actually think I sent you the video of the first time they're coming out, and you can see them like,
that's one of them.
Yeah.
He only weighed 80 pounds. He should have been like 120 or 30 or something.
And he was in the hospital for a while. He was the sickest of the Neapolitan Mastiffs. So like when they first touched the grass, remember they were like
Yeah.
not sure.
Well,
like,
a lot of the dogs I think hadn't really walked because they just like walked so weird. It was like
that
it was
one
really
puppy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying. It was horrifying because like, but at the same time, it's like it's always those moments of I can't believe that this is possible, that these animals could be living like this, but then they're licking your hand and they're happy to, they like people still. And how many people came together to do this?
That's a beautiful
and
part.
And a lot
of
of
it,
rescues came together. So a bunch of Mastiff rescues, and we cleared the shelter of all those
6
dogs
days.
in 6 days.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, for anybody who's watching, and I know we were talking about this before in the green room, but I mean, I know you get hit up by people that want to get involved, or hey, I'll take that dog, but I don't think a lot of people understand the process. Like, exactly what would you do?
Well, don't message us on Facebook that you want to adopt a dog. I mean, you can. We'll tell you to go to the link and apply. So everybody has to apply. And it would be really irresponsible for us if we just did oh, thanks for messaging me on Facebook. Sure, let me drop a dog off at your house. Of course we're not going to do that. So if people are interested, they should go to the website. They can ask us for the link through Facebook. That's fine. But we post it all the time. They can apply either for a specific dog they might see on our page, or just for any dog in general that they're willing to open their home to. And then he's like, "You're so boring." And then we will go through the application process with them. We'll find a dog that fits their house. And I think Nadia and Judy and Anne, they're all Trenton Animals Rock board members. They're really good at that part. That's not my part.
Okay.
I marketing and fundraising.
Everyone's got their part, right?
And playing with dogs. I just
you can also volunteer with us, which is another way you can help out and not just go on Facebook.
So how does someone get to do that?
Don't complain on Facebook. Come out and volunteer. We talked about this out there, and I think it's really important because I get it. You see things and it's frustrating, or you are horrified by an image, and people want to comment, and that's great. But it'd be so much more helpful if they showed up and walked dogs at the shelter, which can happen during the week. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. And then on the weekends...
Well, we do an orientation. So if someone wants to start volunteering and they're new, they can message us on Facebook or whatever. We'll get back to them. But our orientation is Sunday morning because it's when we do our adoption day. So we'll have new volunteers come then. We show them how everything in the shelter works, how to stay safe, what the adoption day looks like, and just familiarize them with the shelter. And then we have various other events, you can go during the week, or we do a pack walk on Saturday mornings. We usually take the dogs over to Mercer County Park, so you can, cool. It's actually really cool to see them there because they go in the lake and mess around with each other and stuff. So but there's lots of opportunities to walk the dogs or sit with them at adoption events. And even other things like screening applications or whatever. If people are
I was going to say the administrative part.
Even if if you don't like walking dogs or you can't or whatever, there's other things as well.
Yeah, screening applications, reaching out to businesses for support because we can always use donations of leashes, harnesses, in good condition or brand new, not the one that you were about to throw away.
Gotcha.
I tell people if you're...
We get those, by the way.
We do.
A lot.
If you're going to throw something away, if you were looking at anything, and you're I should throw this out, you should throw it out. It doesn't matter what it is. If your first thought was, I should get rid of this, throw it out. We will take gently used things, of course. Sure. But if it's a leash falling apart or, something covered in a foreign substance,
I've taken bags of bags and stuff and just throwing them straight out because I'm these are disgusting.
That's...
And people think, oh, it's a shelter dog or something. I'm no.
No, they're still alive.
Yeah.
And they have a sense of smell, and so do we. So, we're not going to... So I think, definitely people who are willing to make calls for us or who want to do fundraisers, we've had people who've done really cool things the liquor store did a wine tasting, and it was $5, and they did a whole bunch of tastings, and then they donated the money to Trenton Animals Rock, not Once and Foolish. So I think you can come up with really fun ways, do a yard sale, and whatever you make is a big deal to us because it's all volunteer. So your money is going to this and nothing else. I know sometimes people don't want to support organizations that pay people, which is a whole nother show. But because people should be paid, but. But we are a volunteer organization. We all do this just in our free time.
Because you love animals.
Yeah, and so any amount of money is so important, and
it all goes straight to the dogs.
Yeah.
Basically, like medical or like.
And medical's huge. Like, and it can happen like that. Like while we're sitting here, we could get a text and say like from an ACO saying, "Can you meet me at CARES? We just got a dog in, and I'm pretty sure it has a broken leg."
And that's
Right. Again, it's going to be thousands.
That's going to be thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's not like $20.
Right.
There you go.
So in the past, the option would be, can they get that dog to a rescue that might take on and incur the costs, which would happen, I think, a lot of times, but not all the time, or euthanizing the dog.
Yeah.
Because
the city would have a certain amount they could spend, and if it was going to be over that amount, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, rough.
So now we're able to just show up and, make it happen. And we share the fundraisers on Facebook as soon as we interact with the dog and we know the situation. And we have like the most amazing supporters. I still can't believe how quickly people will respond when we have an urgent case. It's really awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they're just right on it. It's like, okay, so that's what's so nice about that is now we don't worry, like we don't hesitate to treat an animal, we know that like the people are going to come through for us. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Is there like people that are always like, any of the audience even listening to this right now, as far as like, could they just like donate food, like bags of dog food to you guys and stuff like that?
I would say not right now, only because like the shelters where all the food is kept, because they have like a temperature controlled trailer for food. And when the hoarding case happened, people were just so super generous and gave tons and tons of food.
And food, laundry, detergent, everything. The shelter is like absolutely full of those kind of donations.
But we will need it again. So I tell people like space out the love. So that it's, because it's like a natural disaster, right? Natural disaster happens and everybody's like, get everybody water and toothpaste. Like immediately a city is like inundated with water and toothpaste and I don't know, whatever's like another staple. But then response groups have to say, we're good on the water, because then the needs become very specific, right? And then money is the best answer to specific needs because you can tailor whatever the response is to that animal. So right now, like we have tons of crates for days, and we have tons of food, but we still need like quality treats is a big one. Bones like that last, like bully sticks, Nyla bones, the kinds of things that like are good for dogs and last them a good amount of time. Those are things we definitely need more of. And so like Nyla bully sticks would be like a dream.
Yeah,
they're expensive.
They are expensive.
And they're super expensive. But
it's so nice for the dogs.
It is. It's so and
it's got a tough name too.
Yeah, right? Well, did you know what it is?
No, I'm lying. But it's tough.
Google that one.
Okay.
You're gonna Google it afterwards, and you're gonna love it.
Gotcha.
So bully sticks are. He's like, what?
Oh, he knows that.
Did you say the B word?
Oh, he does know. I'll buy you one.
Keywords.
You woke him up. He's like, he said the B word.
Oh, he did look it. Oh, hi, can I have a kiss? Oh, he's like, now I
How
like
about the
you.
dogs, folks? Come on.
So bully sticks are great. So sorry. Oh, again. He's like, they are great.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, earmuffs. So we could still use that, and then leashes. Quality leashes and harnesses.
Collars and harnesses.
Yeah, like large
always
harnesses.
Used.
Yeah. The step-in harnesses are so easy. Those are really easy to use. And then also for the dogs that are like going into a home, like we could always use dog beds to give the new foster homes. So somebody, I don't know who, this was so cool at the like whole hoarding situation happened. Right now, the organization, or not now because I changed it, but the organization when we first started was just registered to my house because we don't have an office. And we hadn't yet set up a mailbox. And I guess somebody like must have like pulled our 990 or something and saw our origin address. And so they sent like an insane amount of boxes from Chewy. I still don't know who it came from, but if you're somebody who sent them, it's all beautiful dog beds and awesome grain-free food. Like, it was really cool. My husband came home, he's like, did you order a whole bunch of stuff from Chewy? Like, no, it's for our pups.
Why the show rocks, eh? Puppy love.
Oh, look at him. There you go. Good job, buddy. Tell them to donate to Tar. What if he just turned around and said donate?
It's funny too, because as the ladies came in, there's lots of doors here, and this dog knew exactly where to go.
Yeah.
Like he knew what door.
We're going.
Then I tried going into the editing room, and we're
He's ready for his 15 minutes, man, right?
It was crazy.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. So, what would you like to see if there's anything you could really preach? What would you like? What could you ask of people to help
Adopt
you?
older dogs.
Adopt older dogs.
I tease people, and I don't know. We might get nasty comments about this, but like I tease people all the time when they say like, oh, "Look at I rescued this dog," and it's like a 2-week-old puppy. It's like white and fluffy. Yes, adopt is better all around, whatever.
Course,
but
yep.
if you can, if you're capable of adopting, and I'm not gonna lie, I totally adopted a puppy. I adopted a puppy from
I've adopted 2 puppies.
easily,
But also
so I did
older
it.
dogs.
But right, but I feel like now that I've been in the shelters so much over the last year, especially over the last 3 months, I feel like I don't think I could ever do it again because they're great dogs, and you don't have to go through like housebreaking them. Almost all of them are housebroken. They don't pee every 10 minutes. Like there's so many benefits.
You know what the dog is like, right? You can get the exact dog you want. Like, if you want,
know how it's gonna end up, right?
Yeah.
Right, because sometimes people like get a puppy and they're like, "Oh, this is cute now," and then later it's like,
Yeah, it can turn
not
out
a
like
cute-
anything.
right. And like an adult dog is, who they are, and their temperament's kind of set, and like I said, they don't pee all the time, and they're not chewing your furniture or your walls or your molding, or like I think there's so many benefits, and you're really helping us clear the shelter, and I just hope everybody thinks about that. 20 large kennels in a city where they estimate 13,000 dogs live.
Yeah.
Of course, not all the dogs are in need of passing through the shelter, but 20. That's
It's insanely small. Like most cities,
It's a small.
have,
It's a small
80 to
hotel. That's
100
really what it is.
cages.
There's only so many
Yeah.
vacancies, right? So,
right,
I mean,
right. And so you can only put so many dogs there, and so you have to think and I don't envy the job that these animal control officers have to do. I don't know how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
I say it to them all the time, and I try my best to show them gratitude and do what I can to thank them, and because it is very exhausting work and it's heartbreaking work. It's every day seeing sometimes the worst of humanity and animals in bad conditions, and knowing you're kind of stuck. You can only do what you can do, and you can't walk outside and just start building a new shelter. I mean, the space is the space.
Yep.
And every week some dogs are going to have to be put down if there's not room, or if they're sick and there's not care. I mean, that's been drastically reduced since we've been involved because the sick dogs get treatment. But just go adopt.
Yeah.
Go adopt older dogs and donate money to reputable rescue groups. Do your research. GuideStar, I tell everybody all the time, it's so easy. Go to guidestar.org, create a free account. You can put in the name of any nonprofit, not just animal welfare organizations, but any nonprofit, and you can pull the 990s of those organizations. You can see how much money they've brought in, what comes in from program service revenue, what comes in from contributions and grants. You could see what kind of salaries are being paid out, and I'll tell you that most rescues don't have those, but you can look at that. And you can call them and ask those sorts of more detailed financial questions, because that's public information. So use it, do research, give when you can, volunteer. Don't just complain on Facebook.
Absolutely.
I hope someone complains in the comments.
Go volunteer.
Yeah, right?
Thanks for all three of you for coming on to this show. I've always liked to give back, especially to animals.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is the part where you kind of already were there, but if you want to focus on that camera, and if you want to let everybody know how they could help you, get in touch, any plugs, go for it.
TARNJ.org. That's all you need to know.
You can follow us on Facebook too.
Yes, and Instagram. And we will tell you how you can help every single day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I thank you very much for the Trenton Animal Rocks girls here. Stopping by. This dog's going to totally easily lead them back out the way they came in. This is a rock star dog here. So, for real, please support all these animals. It's a big thing. It's a big thing to me too. And like she was saying, don't just talk about it.
Do something.
Do
Yes.
something. That's how you feel better in life.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make things happen. So we thank you, and we will see you next month.